It's finally here. We have the next release of the World of Outlaws series from iRacing. This is going to be a review of the 2024 version of the game. In case you didn't know, this is a separate game that you're going to need to purchase. It is not a DLC like we had back in 2023. Most of you were a part of that 2022 release, so I'm sure you all are as excited, as anxious as I am to see what this new game has in store for us. So let's take a look. We've got a new menu setup, which we won't get into in this video, but to start, let's check out the racing. Let's do a quick race and we'll see how these cars look and how they drive. Alright, we've got the list of the available car classes, and what you're going to notice are two new additions. They gave us the micro sprints and the ASCS non-wing sprints. Let's get started with the non-wing sprints and we'll check out the micros after. A big question I know is going to be, is this game worth purchasing? I'll get into that a little bit later, but for me personally, this edition alone is worth buying the game. Non-wing sprints are such a badass and exciting part of dirt racing, and this was my #1 ask from the first game, even over the paint booth requests. Alright, I'm hopping in a race. Let's skip ahead to the racing so you can see some action. Okay, you're going to notice right away, these things are beautifully chaotic, as they should be. I am genuinely scared for online lobbies with this class. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say it. If you find yourself in an online non-wing lobby, just be ready for it to be absolute chaos. There is no getting around it. You just got to enjoy it for what it is. One thing I want you to note for this video is everything you're going to see here, I have it set on the most difficult settings. So that's going to be advanced. We've got full damage, legendary AI, full cautions, the works. I do have a wheel, but just for this video, I'm just using my Xbox controller. All that said, the handling is surprisingly good on this non-wing. Okay, so you gotta use the brakes most of the time entering the corner and then lightly feather through that apex while you gradually throttle out. They are pretty unforgiving compared to other car classes, so this should make for some great league racing. And oh my gosh, the tempers are going to flare when someone goes into corner a little hot. It is so easy to do. I know another big topic of discussion right now is those dynamic track conditions. It does change from race to race, but it will not change during the race itself. I do notice the changes from race to race, but there's room to push the boundaries on how slick it is. I mean, it is dirt track racing, and that is what makes the sport so unique. Visually, the track looks great from session to session. Like I mentioned, it would be really cool to see the track change to the point where it would force you as the driver to adjust your driving throughout the night. You know, like maybe you're faster earlier in the day, but then you struggle on a slicker nighttime track, or the other way around, whatever. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do the micro sprints. Oh my god, these are so much fun. They are such a good change of pace from all the other car classes. Wow, we really have two opposite ends of the dirt racing spectrum, going from the non-wings to the micros. Just like those UMP modifieds, those micros are a great beginner car class. These are a ton of fun. Oh my gosh. These are going to make for some really good league races and online races. We've got little room for error. These cars are all about momentum. If you make a mistake and you lose your momentum, you can easily get pushed out of the racing line. You can fall back a couple of positions, a few positions even. When you hit those lines, these cars are an absolute blast. These are going to be especially fun against the AI. Look at this close race I had in my first go with these micros. My next race was a Kokomo with, you guessed it, that infamous tire. No one hit the tire in this race, but I promise you, it does move. It is still out for vengeance. It is coming for me. It is out to get me. You can see in this clip with the late model, yeah, this is still a thing in 2024. Something else to note with these wing sprints is they finally gave us that adjustable wing feature. This is such a great addition. It actually has such a big impact on how the car handles. And I'm talking both micros and full-size wing sprints with this. As we jump into this 410, you can see the bar on the right. Press the X and A button on your Xbox, or I think it's square and X button if you're on PlayStation to adjust the wings. It's super easy to do, and you can get the car handling exactly like you need it, and you can do it on the fly. Something else they did that I love is they moved the tear-off button to the right side of the controller, so it's Y on Xbox, triangle on PlayStation. Because of this, you don't have to quit steering just to use a tear off. I kind of like the idea of the added difficulty of having to like coordinate tear offs and steering, but I gotta say, the new button location, that was a good call. Another hot topic from the last game was the car damage. It looks to be the same. I'm not seeing any real changes here. There are some subtle visual changes, but most of the damage is seen in the heads-up display. I do agree that more dynamic damage will be a great feature to add in the game at some point, but I feel like iRacing has a good reason to leave this out. It would take a lot of fun out of the game for someone if their whole season was ruined in the last race due to some damage. After all, it is a game. Something that they could do for that is kind of similar to what they did for the tear-offs. You could make it an option, turn the damage on or off. If you're not into the idea that a DNF can be caused by damage, then you could simply turn off that feature in the settings. That would be cool. I could see them doing that. Because yeah, damage and wear, it's a huge part of racing. It adds so much fun to racing. The high risk, high reward, aggressive racing with big potential gains, but you have that weight of like total devastation. On the other hand, racing more conservatively, you may not have the quickest lap times, but it is a winning strategy to just stay consistency, and that wins a lot of championships. Looking at the replay system, okay, so being a content creator, this is something, me personally, I was hoping for a boost in. It seems like we have the same replay system as in the previous game. Here we can get some close looks at the visual damage on the car. That top wing actually has some pretty significant damage. It's crazy to see just how much it's bent from this angle. Okay, let's get in our late model. We're at Eldora. One thing I really wanted to see is if the late models still do that thing where they jump to the right on the restarts like they did on the old game. It does jump to the right a little bit, but it didn't feel nearly as bad or as jarring as the previous game. And to be honest, the physics all around, they seem just like smoother, more refined, and maybe it's just that I took a break from this game, I took some time off, but I don't know. I'd love to hear from the Extreme Dirt Racing crew. I would love for you to tell me your comments on the physics. Let me know if you notice any differences and what your thoughts are. All right, so here we are again. Hello, paint booth. There is no question at all. I have spent so much more time in the paint booth than I have doing actual racing, believe it or not. So what do we got here? If you were expecting them to change a whole bunch and improve a lot with paint booth, do not get your hopes up. But let's look at what we do have. Graphic styles are the same as we had in the previous game. We've got a few presets to choose from. They gave us an added base color, which that's a nice touch. All in all, it's pretty much the same though. Color selection, that seems to be the same. But I don't know if it's just me, but these colors seem brighter. Wheel colors, these look the same. There seems to be more depth though. It could just be that the lighting is different in this garage. That could be what's making it look like that for me, but everything seems to be brighter and just deeper. All right, shapes. The options we have to choose from in the editor, they're going to be the same selection as the last game. These are the same. I don't think I'm seeing any changes here. Oh, my big question though, how many shapes can we add? Okay, it's still 8 shapes. 8 shapes max. Sad to say, that's not any different. All right. I also wanted to test out the coverage of the shapes. Each part of the car is broken up into sections, and they isolate all the graphics to that section. Yeah, it's the same as the last game. The good news is, though, all of my previous tutorials, they're still going to work on this game. We can use all the same tips and tricks. All right, sponsors. Let's take a look at the selection. It's the same. Next tab. We have a couple new ones. We lost a couple too. Some new ones on the third tab. Big takeaway here though is we still have Hoosier sponsors to work with. This is huge. This is huge for making custom cars. I'm so glad they were able to keep those on the roster. And who knows, we've got some new options. Maybe we can find some new tricks to do with them. On these non-wings, we actually have the option to place some graphics on top of the hood. It is limited to the area and coverage that you see here, but it's going to be cool to add sponsors or graphics because it's going to look really cool from the inside car view. numbers. Okay, everything seems to be the same with the numbers, same options for styles. There may be small things I'm missing since I'm just skimming through quickly, but generally it looks like all the same here. Editing shapes, editing numbers, that's all the same. I'm assuming the coordinates and specs for these shapes are going to carry over from the previous game, so you'll be able to match designs if you like. The other parts of the car function the same as well. We've got the split in the front and back panel. If we add a shape and expand it, it does not cover that middle portion of the car. Only the pre-made graphics cover that. Alright, so that's what we're looking at for the editor. Luckily, we're already pros with this, so we can get right into creating some of our favorite cars, do something custom, something cool. I cannot wait to see your Bloomquist tributes, by the way. They're going to be amazing. The last thing I want to mention, I know a lot of you requested saving multiple designs for a single car. That is not a feature yet, at least what I can see. I think this is something that they could add in maybe a patch or a new game, but it's not available yet. If you're still on the fence whether or not to buy the game, for me, it's a definite yes. If you're a dirt track fan, you're going to love these new car classes. You're going to love the new tracks. You're going to love the dynamic track conditions. Not to mention, buying the game is how we're going to make sure that the developers continue to grow and improve our racing community. All right, that's all I have for you. These are just some initial thoughts. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, add anything that I might have missed. And I can't wait to start working on some new designs. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.